Hello, Northstar Big Book listeners. I am doing some little videos about how to, and I'm also going to share them on my podcast so you can see or listen, whatever works for you. And if there are any how to's from the Big Book that you want help with, please send me a message on Facebook under Carly Israel, and I will do my best. So we are going to do how to do a 10-step check-in. 10-step check-in, you ask? Why? Because we want to keep that muscle for the 10 steps strong. So just to give you a little background, step one is the problem. I have a physical allergy, a mental obsession. I cannot control the amount of alcohol I put in my body when I put it in there. And when I don't have it in my body, I cannot control my brain from telling me the lie I need to have it. Step two is there's a solution. It's different from what I've ever done. I've never done it. I'm hoping it'll work for me. It's just problem, solution, no action. Three is I'm going to make a decision to do something about this. But if we don't follow up that decision that we make a big deal about, that third step prayer, with action, which is step four, it's just a decision. And we've made lots of decisions before that have had no action. We take someone through that in the first hour or the first day or so when we connect with them. Then we give them the directions of how to do step four. That is going to examine their resentment, selfishness, dishonesty, fears, their sex harms, their conduct, all of it. And we're figuring out all the junk that's blocking them off from their higher power or God. In 5, we go over that with our sponsor, who knows how to take us through that because they've done it themselves. And then after that 5th step, we do our hour where we connect with our higher power and make sure that we didn't leave anything out and that we're ready to change. 6 and 7 are about getting to a place where we don't want to live like this anymore and asking for that help. 8 and 9, we are going to repair the damage we've done. And we do that with the guidance of a sponsor. Please do not try that at home alone. So that is how we clear out the hallway. Step 10 is how we keep the hallway clear every day. So for example, I just cleared up my hallway. I'm working on my big amends, but I'm still doing all the work and I'm feeling finally a little bit of connection and freedom. If I'm walking down in my house and I spill, a bowl of cereal and milk on the floor, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to take care of that next year when I do my annual 4th step. I'm going to do it that day. Otherwise, it's going to be gross and sticky and nasty and there's bugs and yuck. So I want to figure out how to do a 10-step in the moment, which we know how to do, which is step 10 on page 84. Why we do a 10-step check-in is if there's nothing that happens in our face that day, like we're not angry, we're not afraid, but we know that we need to do a 10-step to keep our tool strong, to keep our muscles strong. We do something called a 10-step check-in. So I'm on page 84 and I'm looking at what the 10-step is. And it says that this thought, which is that it happens sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory, which we just learned how to do in 4 through 9, and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along, because they know we're going to have new mistakes. We vigorously commence this way of living. So step 10 is how we live. So for example, if you're walking around and you're not angry or afraid about anything, first of all, call me and tell me how you're doing that on a constant basis, because that's insane and awesome and wonderful, or you're just not looking. But if you don't have anything that's sticking out, we want to do a 10-step check-in. So let's say it's like 3 o'clock and I realize I haven't sent my sponsor a 10-step today. Let me just do a check-in to make sure I'm spiritually fit, nothing's blocking me off. What does it look like? So I start off with, am I resentful? Resentful means, am I rethinking, refeeling anything that's happened? Well, I don't know about you, but my brain is always remembering old things. So yeah, I'm kind of resentful that that person posted that thing and I can't believe that they said that. So I just put that down. Or if you don't have anything you're resentful about, you say no. Then we go to, am I afraid? Am I afraid? Oh yeah, I'm totally afraid. How am I going to get enough business to be able to do this, or how am I going to be able to pay that bill, or how am I ever going to get to a place where I'm not going to owe this much money, or what if I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, or what if the pandemic never ends? You see, how can you not have some sort of fear? So you just want to list the fear and get it out. If there's nothing that's blatantly in your way, you can say, I don't think I'm afraid of anything, but I'll be aware of that. I've never had one day in sobriety where I haven't had some sort of fear, okay? Am I being dishonest? For me, dishonest is not necessarily at this point about, am I lying? It is, am I not seeing something? So all those fears I just listed are dishonest because I'm not taking into account that I have an incredible tool called my higher power. And the dishonesty is that I'm trying to do this by myself. The selfishness is that I'm trying to do this by myself. I think I need to make this all work out. I need to understand it all, and I'm not asking God for help. That's where we get the 4th step from the 10th step. I take a deep breath. I'm usually doing this in a text message. You can do it on an email. You can write it in your journal. You can call your sponsor. You can do it in person. But I like to do a text message, just get it out. And I ask my higher power, I picture my hallway. And I don't know if you guys actually can picture your hallway, but I picture mine. It used to be completely cluttered with boxes and garbage and junk and crap everywhere. And it was nasty and smoky and smelly. And I worked really hard in 4 through 9 to keep it clear. And now it's like beautiful old wooden floors that are like 100 years old and a beautiful rug that's clean because I vacuum it every day. And there's incense burning, and on the wall are canvases and artwork and reminders and signs. And there's light and air, and on one end is me, and on the other end is whatever is God. What's in my hallway is what I want to get rid of. And so in this 10-step check-in my hallway might be some random fears I just listed, or the fact that I forget that God's available. And so I ask my higher power, please take anything that's blocking me and from you. And I breathe. Do I own amends? So it's kind of weird that I'm asking if I own amends for a 10-step check-in when I didn't even know there was something to be looking at. But yes, the amends I owe is I need to amend my behavior and start remembering that God's available. So one of the things I was talking about earlier was I need to remember to pause. Sometimes I like to write that on my hand to remind myself. I have signs everywhere. I have alarms that go off that I ignore that tell me to breathe. So I'm going to amend my behavior. And these are the 4 things I can change. My breathing, it's called BEAP, B-E-A-P. My breathing, which is, if you've ever heard my podcast or been on a call with me or seen my big book study, I talk fast. I know that I do that. Sometimes it's really helpful and sometimes it's not. But I don't breathe enough, and so I want to breathe. Okay. How can I change my E, my expectations? Well, I'm going to expect that even when I'm not aware of it, I'm kind of walking around with like low-grade fear, sometimes low-grade resentment, selfish and dishonesty because I'm forgetting that God's available to me. And I'm going to expect that that's going to happen. And that's why I need to do 10-step check-ins so I can stay awake and clear. How can I change my A from BEAP, my attitude? My attitude is I get to do this. There are people that are walking around right now that don't have this tool, and it's not that big of a deal. Like, okay, so stop and check in on yourself. Like, am I breathing? Am I okay? Right? When you're in the hospital, they check your vitals. So we're just checking our vitals. The last part of BEAP is my perspective. How can I change my perspective? All you have to do is be awake and see all the tragedies all around us, all of the racism and sexism and unfair conditions and people dying and scary, scary things. And I have one down the street from me, and it's my son's best friend, Rudy. And all they have to do is think about Rudy and his family and what they're facing, or my husband, whose daughter's birthday is coming up, and she's not here to celebrate it with him because she died of brain cancer. So whatever you need to do to think of something to get out of yourself so you don't get stuck in your little world like I do, that's our perspective. And the last part of the 10-step check-in is others. Who can I turn my attention to? It says, love and tolerance of others is our code. We resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. And in that moment, my suggestion is that you actually take action. Don't just think of somebody, take action. It's so simple today. You can send a text message, just, hey, I'm thinking of you. You never know why that action is going to mean to somebody else. So that's how you do a 10-step check-in. It's not as long as I just went through it. I just had to give you some detail. And it's really about keeping that muscle strong so when, not if, you get resentful and afraid, you'll immediately know how to do it. I hope you have a great day. And if you'd like to join us at our home group on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, we would love to have you. Take care.